right? Now you can see where I've already spilled a drop or two. And that's what I mean. And I wanted to do that to show you that it repels itself. So when you're doing a big area or something like that, you want to make sure that you're nice and fluid. Okay, if it looks like you missed a spot behind you, you've probably got about 5 minutes to go back and just touch it again. Because once it's dry, that's it. Yeah, and it'll overlap itself, and then the silicone and stuff might get a little bit. But you know, you can look at it, and that's really, once you get a surface where that's all you're looking for, right? On the front here, because it's so hot, right? You see it, it's just, when it's hot like that, it's just soaking in more. And that's probably, see how that's dried already? So that's how fast when it's sun, it can react. But that's also the best thing about it, because you can do a sidewalk and spray it and in 20 minutes open it up for the public in the way they go. If I'm spraying it on a cloudy day and a rain comes down, 10-15 minutes later, it doesn't matter because it's not a coat. It's soaking in the powder. The water is going to sit on top of it, and a little droplet or two of rain, it's just going to get those top crystals puffed up. The rest of it's still soaking in. Like ideally, it's going to soak in that first minute or two. Like really, that's when it's really going to just soak in.
So which product did you just spray on there then?
I just put, this is Yufix. Okay, and I wanted to show the Yufix because that is the one we most commonly use, because it is the one that most people want to use because it's fail-safe. You can't put too much crystals in, you're not going to stain, you're not going to do anything like that. So everyone's like, just use Yufix. Like for pavers and stuff like that, use Yufix. For the nice thing is, like for cinder block walls, for vertical applications, use Yufix. And it's the most all-rounder, and it gives you probably the best visual of what is actually happening. This is Pavix here, and I'm going to spray a bit of Pavix in here, and I probably should have done it first, but just to show that it's the same, right? Just get it wet. That's absorbing because of, obviously, it's so hot down there, right? But again, same repelling. That's the Yufix, okay? The Pavix is on the surface. So I've treated this over here, I treated that over there, and I'll just show you. So I treated this yesterday, and you can see the darkening, right? You can kind of tell where it is and where it isn't. But like I said, the here is absorbing, right? And it's dry. It's not getting in there. It's not gonna penetrate it through. You know, I sprayed down the sides. You know, and you can see. And so you can see what I mean by winter time. One thing we learned is, in the winter, it can, you know, the water just is gonna sit there unless it's got someplace to go. Right?
Big difference.
That's why vertical applications is so awesome, and that's why they say on vertical, don't waste your money on Pavix. The Yufix, the water's it's not going to sit there. It's just, if it beads off, it's gone, right? But on parging and anything like that, it's like, it's bulletproof now.
So if you use the Yufix on flat surface, that's when it would just puddle up if you had a low spot?
If you had a dip and a low, and again, you look at all you have to do is just look at this. This water on this surface is already evaporating, but most of it is soaking into the concrete, right? This is still here. And everyone's like, why is it still wet? Well, it's got nowhere to go. But again, we're trying to protect the concrete, right? More than anything. And then like over here, you can see, this was all dusty, dirty. I didn't clean it off or nothing. And it's just to show that it's still gonna work the same. I mean, you do a quick, and that's just a quick blast.
Yeah.
If you put it too light, you know, when you're doing your application, you just want it wet. You want to get it, see how it's now starting to dry. It's just to get enough of the crystals through. I put the valve box in here and I just went like this. So it's very powerful stuff.
And that was just a light spray.
That was just a light spray. So what is this going to do? It's still protected, right? Maybe it didn't get the concrete, it didn't get penetrated down that whole 3/4 of an inch, but you're easily down 1/2
Go on.
Good, how are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
Hi,
This is other Dan here.
the other Dan. I'll just give him a quick show, and then you can tell him the rest.
So that's just there's no seal on that at all.
Yeah.
Right. This has got sprayed this yesterday with Yufix. And see, it just runs right off.
Yeah.
You run the wall. Okay. See, it soaks in. Wow. It just runs off.
So, like I say, when it's dry, as the crystals dry up, your surface doesn't change. You hardly even know it's there. Like I'm on if you do Pavix, the Pavix is starting to dry there. Like especially Pavix because it doesn't have the silicone, you hardly even know that you put anything in Pavix. You know, when that dries, I'll give you a quick show. The other thing that we have, actually, using yellow, is for your nosings and stuff like that. We have sealers or steams that steam the concrete rather than paint. Yeah. Right? Again, you would paint it, put the soak it in, and this won't penetrate as well as that, right? Because it's you're putting color into concrete. So when concrete is hard, you're trying to put a large molecule into it. So it might go down 1/4 inch, but the thing is, it will never flake. It'll never deteriorate. So you would stain, throw your Yufix over top to seal that in. And generally, we did stuff at UBCO and stuff like that for testing. And we would get probably 3 years, but there's so much traffic, they actually wore the concrete down, right? The concrete weighs down and you reapply. And so you can get some really nice color, right? With these stains. And I'm doing it here because we're gonna cut this thing out. So what that is, and then you may need to come back at another time, I'll seal it, that is now staining into that concrete. And yellow was one we were really working on. The only color they can't do is white. Because white's not a color. Scientifically unable to do it. Paint pigments, you can take all of the pigments and make white because basically white is a blocker. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't try to understand it, but the chemists tell us we can't stain something white because it's not a color. So that means we can't generate it.
So now, obviously this is going to dry before you seal it, but how long until you can do that?
This will dry, I mean the yellow, they've really worked on the yellow, and the yellow has gotten a lot better. It used to be really kind of watered down, more like this red is, but this will probably be dry in about 20 minutes.
And then you can seal that. Right
Yep.
away.
And then you'd look at it and go, do I want a little darker, right? And so you might, and generally what we tell people is you want 3 coats. So it does take a little bit more time, you know, but they've got a lot better. And the other thing that we can get now, which is new for this year, is they make this with the Yufix in it. So you don't have to reseal it. So on those areas that you haven't, say you've sealed it already and you're touching them up, you would order this stain with the Yufix so that you just paint it on, paint it on, paint it on, you're done. And again, the nice thing about all this stuff is it is all just, right, it's water-based stuff, it's all green, so I just gotta go clean it up. Your spray tank, don't need anything, you just get water and right?
That's the same with all these things.
All of them.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that's going to happen is the crystals are going to dry up and the crystals plug everything up, right? You know, I can handle it. It's, you know, it's about as safe as it can be. This is almost ready now. The Pavix is almost ready now. I'll show you guys one other thing, and I'll show you this, and then I'm done, and then you guys can get it back to your busy day. We have, right now, the rights to replay in Canada. And Replay is an asphalt sealer that works almost the same as the concrete. It's a product right here. Asphalt is a big problem because it is expensive. The biggest problem with asphalt is it's got about a 25 in Alberta, 15-year. Here you might get 25, 30. And the big problem with asphalt is it deteriorates. 4 or 5 years it starts to oxidize, right? And that surface area that actually does all the protection breaks down, starts to crack. Asphalt absorbs water. It's an oil-based product that absorbs water just like concrete does, if not worse. So this product is made from citrus oils, and again, it's a natural product. I got a hole. Pushed through. This is a clear product. And what it does, and I put this on about 2 hours ago, is it goes on really light. You spray it on with a spray rig because it has to be very specific. It's a little more detailed than this because you don't want to put too much down because it's not cheap. A tote of this stuff will cost about $14,000, but it'll also do 400,000 square feet. What this does is it reverses the oxidization and it resurfaces basically the asphalt. If you were to get on a program and do this every 5 years, we could make asphalt last 90 years. Because the only part that's deteriorating is the surface. Again, if it's breaking down underneath, we can't do anything about it. I'm going to spray it on just to show you. It would go on really fine. Okay, it goes over top of line paint. So what would this be in lieu of? This is in lieu of a emulsion coat. You throw emulsion coat on asphalt if that's what you have to do to reseal the surface, and all you're doing is simply throwing tar on top of asphalt. It's a film like that, and it'll break down. And after you do that, you have to reline paint, and you have to do all that other stuff. Right. This stuff goes over top of all your line painting. Okay? There's the consistency of it. This is obviously getting a lot more than it would have because I'm just trying to show it. But more importantly, you save yourself the line paint, you save yourself the remarking, which is the most expensive part of line painting, is restringing it, right? If you can